Okay. All right, so welcome to the first ever VFW Post 8972 podcast. So our goals basically for this is we're going to bring veterans in, community leaders, members of the Post, to get the message out that, here at the VFW, we are not just a bar. We are a group of veterans here to support veterans. And one of our ways of doing that, we want to showcase veterans. With us today is our post commander, Brian Shoemaker. He's been our commander for what? A year and a half? Two and a half. 2.5. Good night, 2.5 years. Yeah.
Third term.
Third term. You regretting it yet? So we're gonna go through Brian's kind of story, what he's about, what the post is about. So I guess you want to just jump into it?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for joining us today, and we're going to try and make this reach out to people and let everybody know what we're about and showcase, like you said.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Let's give it a whirl.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Worst thing we can do is not do it right.
That's right.
All right. So Brian, from Bremen, correct?
Yeah, I was raised here and grew up here and retired and came home.
Yeah.
Came here. I went to school, played sports here, and my family's a big part of this town. My grandpa, he was one of the, not founders of Bremen, but he established the whole northwest side of the town.
Really?
Yeah. So when he moved
So
here,
from Woody's?
yeah, so from Plymouth Street and Fur Road or 331,
Okay. Yeah.
that whole corner, this whole corner of town.
No kidding.
And then he had that, and then he used to make concrete blocks and lots of other things, and he used to move houses. And then my uncle established this whole community south of the VFW back here, Shoemaker Edition. So at one point in time when I was in high school, 1 out of every 5 houses was built or sold by a shoemaker.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I
You
had
know
no
it.
idea.
Yeah.
So he was more like a developer?
He's a man of many trades, but my grandpa, he used to move the houses, like so where he lived, where the old Clark station, like all those houses on that same block where the Clark station used to be, or where the Bremen corner thing is.
Right.
He moved all those houses there.
No kid. What, from where? Just all over?
I don't know where they came from,
Yeah.
but I have pictures of him moving houses with steam engines.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, different days, huh?
Yeah. So we got Shoemaker Drive over there.
So you got a whole street named after you.
Yeah.
Well, when are you going to take over the town?
I tried. That didn't work out too well.
So grew up here, went to school. When did you graduate?
I graduated in 90.
90.
And then I joined the Air Force. I joined the Air Force before I graduated, and then left in September 1990.
So I want to back up. So you joined before you graduated?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Delayed enlistment program. This is a crazy story. Back in the day, I don't know if they still do it. They had the, I forget, the buddy program. You're supposed to go in with someone. So Randy Gow and I went in the Air Force together. He left right after school, but no, I'm staying home and I'm gonna enjoy my summer. Plus, I didn't want to go to Texas in the middle of the summer.
I don't blame you there.
It was bad enough in September.
Yeah.
So, Randy Gow was a really good friend of mine. He went in and he was a crew chief on the 135s, KC, I think KCs or RC KCs, and we joined together. Both of us did before we graduated. And the crazy thing is that his dad and my dad served in Vietnam together.
So your dad, his dad served in Vietnam.
They were there together. Like they met in Vietnam. They they weren't there at the same time. They were together
Really?
in Vietnam. And then they
So they knew each other. They were
they knew,
actually in country serving together.
Yeah. And
that's why.
And then so Max was from Rochester, and then I'm not sure why he came to Bremen, but he did. And him and my dad were really good friends, and our families grew up together. And then Max had 2 kids, and the oldest one is Randy, and him and I were in the same class together, and we joined the Air Force together. So it's pretty wild.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's wild. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So was that kind of like the inspiration for you joining the service? Was it always? Well, I guess 2 questions. So was it the fact that your dad, your best friend's dad, they both served?
I don't. So I really wanted to be an architect, and
Really?
yeah, I took drafting in school, and I just wasn't going to be able to happen. So
Right.
my dad instilled a lot of pride in my grandpa, and I've been a part of the VFW since I was a little kid.
Right.
So like that, it was just a natural thing to do. It's like you got to do something that's going to be better.
Right.
So that's why I joined the Air Force, I guess.
So an architect.
Yeah.
You still got that? You still got that itch?
No, I like to draw. Like I don't know. Like I don't think I'd be happy with doing computer drafting.
Right.
I like to
More hands-on.
Yeah.
Doing the whole draft table, the whole.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really enjoyed. I took 3 years of that in school.
No kidding.
Yeah. But so the Air Force was where it went, and then.
So why Air Force? Why not Army, Marine, Navy?
Because everybody said that was the best one.
Yeah, me too.
Like Max and my dad, and everyone's like, "Yeah, don't do those other ones."
Yeah. So you had a little background. You had a couple guys talking in your ear, going, "Hey, man, if you're going to join, try it."
Yeah, if you're going to do one, do that one.
Right. Yeah.
And so yeah, and it's a family heritage, I guess, to serve. So my grandpa and grandma were both in World War II, husband and wife, and then my uncle was in the Korean War, and then my dad was in Vietnam. So it was my
Wow.
time.
So that's
So
kind of next man up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys can see that. That's the dog tags of my grandpa, my dad, and mine hanging there on that picture that I took.
And we should mention that all of these you took, correct?
Yeah.
So all of these are when you were deployed, looking at things. I mean,
yeah. So I'm an
traveling.
artist too. Like, so I do photography. I do a lot of things.
Right.
But so I guess since I'm not drawing houses and buildings, I'm doing photography.
Yeah.
So that's the Vietnam Wall. This is the American Cemetery in Luxembourg. That's where General Patton's buried. I don't know if you can see that. That's the Korean War Memorial in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Okay.
So
That's really something too, because I like sometimes when people come in, they look at them and they think these are like just, I don't know, like stock photos.
no,
Right. I mean, some people are, they look at it, oh, that's really cool, but they think it's just like kind of like a stock photo or something. But you actually took these.
Yeah,
and
so like
done this.
right here, this is my dad in Vietnam. These are photos of him in Vietnam. This is an award my grandpa gave me. He made that. And then here's my this is my ribbon rack. You can't hardly see that. And this is a bottle of wine from Normandy. It says D-Day on it, and then you probably can't see that, but that's VAT 69, and that was used in Band of Brothers, the one lieutenant. And a lot of people don't know that this is a 48-star flag.
Right.
You can see the stars are perfectly in line.
Yeah.
So that's a 48-star flag. And most people don't know that that's how you can easily identify one from a 50.
Yeah. That's really something. So you, growing up, I mean, this was always
No,
in
I
your
grew up
wheelhouse.
like my dad was always at the post. My grandpa and grandma, my mom, my sisters. Like we did spaghetti dinners, so I carried on that tradition here. So the first Wednesday every month.
Right. We do spaghetti dinner.
Yeah, we do spaghetti dinner. And my dad was always at the post fixing the place.
Mm-hmm.
and so I was always with them.
And that was the old VF.
Yeah, it was the old
Right,
post
before
over
that. Now, were they involved in this one too?
there.
Because I know some of the guys
No.
were, some of the guys weren't.
My mom was.
Your mom was.
It was past all that.
Okay, yeah. My wedding reception was at the old VF.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
one
it
of
was a
three
great place.
weddings.
It was a great place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So growing up, kind of always intertwined with the VF, always intertwined with the military. Decided on the Air Force, what you could call on that.
So that probably had something to do with you coming in, right?
Right, yeah. It had a little bit to do with me,
Yeah.
yeah. Between you and another friend of ours, and
Well, that's what I mean. If I talk to him, and then he talked to you.
yeah, and
then
I've
here
never
we are.
forgiven either one of you for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I loved it. I loved my time. It was awesome. So now, we got through, went through high school, normal, typical high school, anything.
Yeah, nothing spectacular.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, I served. I went in as had to go take extra tests, and somehow I passed them, and I became an intelligence analyst. So I didn't always work on planes.
Okay, so let's stop there for a minute, because I know you as Chief Master Sergeant on planes, that Thunderbirds, all this cool, this cool stuff. You're an intelligence
analyst.
analyst.
I reported to NSA. You didn't know that?
I had no idea, dude. So walk me through that. Was that your first one?
Yeah, so when I signed up, I don't know what Randy said he wanted to do, but we had guaranteed jobs. You can sign up and get a guaranteed job. And my recruiter was out of Warsaw. I don't remember his last name. His first name was Scott.
Did he have a desert hat hanging up in the back of his office?
No, it was before Desert Storm.
Oh, yeah. You're an old man.
It was right at that time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to spy. I want to, you see all that stuff on TV.
Right,
So
all the cool James Bond stuff.
Yeah, so he called me one day and he's like, hey, we got blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, when you read the description of your job, you're overwhelmed with what it says.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
And so it was radio signals, intelligence analyst, something like that. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. That'll work. And so he's like, all right, well, you have to go back to Indianapolis and take this test.
Okay.
And I was really bad at math.
So you were in Warsaw. You got accepted to this job.
Well, that was my guaranteed job, but I had to go pass this test.
So that was during, after basic, previous?
No, it was before.
Before basic.
Yeah,
okay.
I wanted to
So you were still in the DEP program at that point.
I was still in high school.
Yeah.
And so I had the Air Force, I had to get on a frickin' bus in Plymouth. And had to go to Indianapolis forever, probably 5-hour drive on a bus.
And you're 18? 19?
17. I graduated when I was 17.
Okay.
So I went down there. I don't remember where we stayed. And I don't even remember where I took this test at. It was probably at the processing at MEP. It was probably at MEPS. And it was really hard test. It was a bunch of math stuff. And I'm like, I don't think I had good math teachers, but I didn't know. And somehow I passed this damn test. And they're like, yeah, you're going this way your job is.
So, congratulations.
Yeah, so, and I went to basic training in September 90. And then my school was about 6 months long. And it was really difficult because...
I don't, not to interrupt, so this intelligence thing, we're going to have to park on this for just a little bit, because this is intriguing. So you join on the buddy program.
Yeah.
Didn't go in the summer, because who in God's name wants to go to Texas in June?
It was miserable in September. Yeah, the humidity.
Went to Indy during that time, the summer time frame.
No, it was before. I was still in school, actually.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
And then passed this test to become an intelligence
to be qualified
analyst.
to take that job, yeah.
So you had to get a qualification before you even went to basic.
Yeah.
like the rest of us just went in dumb as hell and wondering
Why are you saying
why
I
all
was
these
smart?
people are yelling at us.
Maybe
You
they just
actually
needed-
had a qualification
Maybe they
before you even went.
maybe they just needed the person to do the job, so they like passed me.
just slid you through.
Yeah.
I kind of doubt it. I want to say in that job you just slid through.
Yeah.
So you went to basic in September, knowing that once you got out of basic, you're going to be this intelligent.
Well,
Or you were going to the school
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be an intelligence analyst.
Yep.
All right. So
it's crazy.
basic training, I think, everybody kind of has the same basic.
Yeah, 6
And-
weeks. Back when
yeah.
I went through, it was 6 weeks. Now it's eight weeks.
Yeah. Because now did
Warrior
they have the
week.
0 week?
No, you just you went and
Yeah.
this is all you got. Like I
Yeah.
thought you were going to be doing the obstacle course every day.
Right. Yeah.
Like
and
this is the military.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you get there and no, it's one day.
Yeah.
And hey, you shoot the gun one day.
Yeah.
It's like this is the Air Force.
Yeah. We're not.
Unless it's your job, you're not going to shoot this again.
Right. Yep. And then, so I like when I went. So they kept telling us it was 7 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or six or 7
Well,
weeks.
when did you go? So I was in '90. So you probably
I
went
went
in 2000.
01,
Yeah.
February of 01. So I think it was like 6 weeks or 7 weeks. I forget. But what they didn't tell you was there was a 0 week. So your first week was 0 weeks.
So it's 8 weeks.
Yeah, it was something like that.
So you have Warrior Week, right? You go,
Yeah,
you go
Warrior
playing
Week,
tents and
which was the dumbest damn thing.
yeah.
Shining flashlights at each other. That was so
Yeah.
stupid. I was in
go
there.
play in the woods, kids.
Yeah, I was in there like, what the hell are we doing? What
Yeah.
this is, But they tried to make it pretty.
Yeah, you're rough and
Yeah,
tough.
oh,
and
it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and my buddies used to eat catfish out of the Yellow River. This ain't shit,
Yeah.
But so anyway, so you get through basic. So now you're going to.
So I had to go to school for 6 months in San Angelo, Texas, Goodfellow Air Force Base. I don't even know if it's still there, but it was an intelligence school. There's Army and Air Force were both
Okay.
there.
How was that? How was your first experience with the Army, active duty
It wasn't.
Army?
It wasn't bad. Like so, your first is cut into blocks for training, and you had to get past the first block to go to the second block.
Mhm.
And the first block was with Army, and it was no big deal, like as far as interacting or whatever. But then the majority of your time was with the Air Force
Yeah.
because it's trained for the air. You learn Air Force things,
Right.
Like so,
right.
the beginning is just the basic stuff
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
intelligence, and it was very difficult because you couldn't take your study material home because it's all classified. So if you wanted to study,
So you were with like super secret squirrel shit.
Yeah.
That you couldn't even study in your barracks or your.
you had to go back to work. You had to go back to the schoolhouse to study, and like I'm 17 years old, and what are all these Russian planes? What's their names? What are they? How fast they fly? The Su-27, MiG-29. Like what's their
Jesus
code-
Christ! You're 17
code name.
trying to figure
Yeah.
out what Russian plane assets are.
Yeah. And then you're looking at photography, like identifying tanks and things. So you couldn't study at home.
Right.
So
Yeah, they wouldn't want. Yeah.
yeah, you have to go back to the
Yeah.
schoolhouse in a secured area.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because you don't want to. I
then-
mean, I don't know what the pictures
And
are.
the whole time, like at basic training, like you're filling out all these papers for your job, and then like there's people came to Bremen and talked to my teachers.
Right, because you had to have a top secret or higher,
Yeah.
didn't you?
Yeah, top secret.
Yeah.
So people were getting interviewed in Bremen about me, and like my teachers were caught there. Well, yeah, we didn't text back then.
Right. Yeah.
They're like, hey, I just had somebody come talk to me. I'm like, yeah. Like I had to put people down, references, and they came.
So did you?
They came.
So did you tell these people, or was it just a surprise? Hey, I'm from the Air Force. I'm going to talk to you
I
about
remember
this
one
guy."
was Mr. Board, my shop teacher, my drafting teacher, but yeah.
Did he call you? Hey, why the
when
hell
I
is there
came-
an Air Force
when
guy
I came
here?
home on leave, they're like, yeah, these people are here talking to me, asking me questions
Oh,
about
shit.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose though, with a job like that, you're gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was.
Because I don't think
And that was just during school. Like that was during tech school still.
Yeah, so I don't think I even. Dude, I don't think I even got like applied for top secret till like 3 years in.
Yeah, like
so you had to do.
I was already doing the
direct
process
out.
during school.
Yeah, you already had to.
Yeah, because of my assignment after 6 months, I forget when I left. So I went to basic at September 20th, 1990. So I probably graduated tech school the summer after that. I mean, I know it was the summer after that, but I don't remember when. And then they sent me to Japan. So like, you get to Japan, you're already, here you go.
You're doing the job.
Yeah.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Yep.
Here's your shit.
Here's your code. Here's your code to get in the doors. Here's your tag. Make sure you have this on you. 24/7 job. 365. Spying on bad guys.
Get your shit straight.
Yep.
Damn.
I was 18 by then.
18. Oh, so you're a full 18 years at that point.
Yeah, 18-year-old. Spying on bad guys.
That's kick-ass, dude. I had no clue. So you go from living in Bremen, Indiana, hanging out, obviously have this military background with your dad, your grandpa, your grandma, your mom. I mean, all of these people, your buddy's dad. You say, I'm going to join the Air Force. That's going to be cool. A year later, you're in Japan spying on bad guys.
Yep. Russians and Koreans.
In the military, great?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And
that's pretty cool, though.
I didn't even want to go overseas. I was really pissed off.
Really? So did you have a wish list when you got out of tech school?
Yeah, and I put all stateside stuff.
Yeah.
But then they're like, well, you want to be intelligence? You can't spy on your own guys. You have to go overseas.
Yeah, you're not going to sit in California and spy on Nevada.
Yeah. So, like, hey, here you go, Japan.
No shit. So
I hated it.
Yeah, Japan sucked. The job or Japan?
No, I love my job. Just at that time, you're 18 years old, and it was way before internet.
Right.
So you kind of I was there. It was a 2-year tour, and you kind of do the things that's popular to do there. But after that, then you're like, now what do I do? Yeah. And you're not making any money.
Right. Yeah.
You're living in a dormitory.
So what are you A1C senior airman at this time?
A1C.
A1C. So E3.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So and back in the day, like I said, you didn't have internet, so you'd call home. It would cost $100 to talk for an hour on the phone.
And that's like 2 weeks paycheck.
Yeah. Like I think I made $400 a paycheck.
Right.
Like I take $100 a month.
Yeah.
And you'd spend $100 of it just to call home.
Right.
So it was very difficult to socialize, I guess. So you just had your people there.
Right.
And I'm sure I'd love it if I went back.
Yeah.
But at that time, and when I was 18 years old, it wasn't. I went to Tokyo. I went to Disneyland in Tokyo. I went and did a lot of cool things there. I don't regret going there, but I definitely didn't have fun. Yeah. I mean, I didn't.
Just sucked.
I didn't want to be there. Like you're 18, you get homesick or whatever. Like you're just out of school.
Oh yeah.
So you're dealing with all that, and then trying to become an adult.
Yeah.
And you grow up really fast.
Well, you got this enormous responsibility. It's not like you're 18. I'm going to college. I'm hanging out. I got a C in this class versus a D.
Yeah.
No, I'm 18. I'm in Japan. I'm hanging out. And oh, by the way, during the day, why don't you go ahead and see what the Russians are up to, or the North Koreans are up to, because it's going to matter to the defense of the country. So, that's a little bit to absorb. When you're 18 years old.
Just reporting National Security Agency.
Yeah,
typical 18-year-old.
Yeah, typical 18-year-old doing their thing. So how long? So you were in Japan for 2 years. Yeah. And now, when your 2-year tour there was in, did you go back stateside?
I got out.
You got out?
Yeah, you know.
No shit. No.
No, my dad was having problems, and then Clinton was president, and he's like, okay, anybody that wants to get early out, we're cutting the military down so you can get out. I did hear that. I heard of that. So a friend of mine, a good friend of mine that was stationed with me in Japan, he's down in Kentucky, Damon. Him and I decided we were walking home from the BX. He's like, we should get out. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay.
Let's try that.
Yeah, and so I came home and took care of my dad. So I got early out, still an A1C, right before I made senior airman E4. And him and I got out together, like the buddy program, and we were both sent to Travis Air Force Base in California to out process.
Okay.
We were both there together.
Oh, so you didn't out process in Japan. They had to fly you back to... Really? Okay.
Yeah. And then him and I both got tattoos outside the gate.
No shit. The day you got out?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. And then I came home, took care of my dad, and I really loved my job. And so I talked to the Air Force Guard or Reserve, I don't remember which one it was, and they didn't have any openings for intelligence analysts. So I talked to Max, Army guy. He's like, well, they got that in the Army. So I talked to the Army recruiter in Plymouth, and I signed up for the Army. I was in the Army too.
Jesus Murphy, dude. So okay. So take me through. So we're in Bremen. Now we're in Japan, spying on bad guys. Now we're in California. Now we're back in Bremen.
Came home.
Now we're in the Army.
Dad, loved my job, and I signed up for the Army.
Okay, so where did you have to go through basic?
No.
No?
And that's why I said, like, am I going to have to go back? And like, no, you're already qualified. So I was a private first class in the Army.
How long did that last?
Not very long. So what sucked is they never promoted me because they wouldn't send me to school. They're like, well, you have all your training in the Air Force, but it doesn't qualify for the Army. But then the state didn't have money to send me to school in Fort Huachuca.
So you couldn't get the Army qualifications
right,
to get
so
promoted.
I couldn't get promoted.
Yeah. So you're just
so I
stuck.
stayed at E3 for the whole time.
What was it?
So till 96. So probably 3 years.
So at this time you've been in the Army longer than you've been in the Air Force.
Yeah, it was about the same.
About the same.
And then I finished that, and that was guard, so I was part time.
Okay.
It wasn't full time.
Right.
And then I was a civilian for 4 years, and then I started dating someone, and I better get my shit together, get my life together. And then just by chance, the Air Force had openings for prior service.
So you were continuing to look at the military through those 4 years.
Right, I had a good job. I was working on motorhomes at a dealership in Indianapolis, and then I went to the recruiter. I don't remember even why I went there, but they're like, "Hey, we have in May of 2000, you can go back." And then like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, "Well, Randy, Max's kid,
right?
He was a crew chief on jets, and so like, I want to be a crew chief."
Figured the hell with it. Let me work on those.
And then they're like, "Well, what do you want to be a crew chief on?" I'm like, "Fighter planes, because they fucking kill bad guys."
Right.
And then my future wife, she's like, "Well, I want to be in Phoenix."
Okay.
And so in Phoenix, they have F-16s, fighter jets. And when I was going through, I had to go back through MEPS. The whole.
You had to do the whole deal.
Yeah, I don't know what it stands for. Military entrance.
Yeah.
Something, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So the whole, like, starting over brand new. So I still was at E3 because I never made E4.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there, and the guy's like, you should probably pick a better job than this.
No shit.
It's like, you don't want to do this job.
So the guy's telling you, hey,
yeah, like a staff sergeant. He's like, "Hey, are you sure you want this job?" I'm like, yeah, my buddy said it was like amazing. Like, like, I'm going to get my name onto the plane. And
right, I'm going to be cool.
Yeah.
You know, go to the danger zone.
Yeah. So they tried to talk me out of it. I'm like, nope, that's where I'm going. I'm going to go work on airplanes now.
So did you have to go through? So, okay, this is a little bit of a wild ride, man. So did you have to go back through basic training again?
No. What was really strange is they're like, okay, you're getting this crew chief job. You're going to go work on F-16s.
So it was a guaranteed job.
I don't remember if that's how it was. I think it was. It probably was. Like, you're going to go to what the frick's that base in Texas?
Was it like Lackland or?
Not Lackland.
Shit, there's a lot of them down there.
Anyway, they're like, show up at school.
Right.
On this day. So I drove from Indianapolis to Texas.
Just popped in.
I went to the Army surplus store, bought a camouflage uniform. Like, they didn't give me anything.
So they didn't even have
I didn't get anything. I didn't have an ID. I didn't have nothing. So I show up.
You didn't show up.
Yeah, I show up at the gate.
Hey guys, what's going on?
And the cops are like, yeah, like, I'm here for school. Here's my paper. And then, yeah, then like check in the building, the hotel or whatever to stay at.
They're like, fuck it, come in.
Yeah. And I was at A1C.
No kid.
And they're like, you're staying in building in the hotel?
Right.
And I'm like, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I started to do my own processing, so it was really weird because I didn't have any uniforms. And like, so they had where people that were kicked out or discharged,
Right.
they had all their stuff. So they're like, go through here and see what you can find.
Just try to pick some shit out of
Yeah.
this pile.
And then, I showed up at the orderly room, and like, here I am.
Here I am.
I need an ID card. And then they're like debating, like, should we put him with the young, because at this point I'm 28. I'm 28 years old. Excuse me.
And these A1Cs or slick sleeves or
yeah,
one stripers are
Yeah.
coming in. They're 17, 18 like you used to be.
yeah. So they're like, he's against the grain. You better put him in building the whole
Right,
time, and
yeah.
like not put him with those guys because he'll conform those guys
Right,
the
yeah.
wrong way.
Yeah. He's already got it figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We're still training these guys. This
Yeah.
guy's already kind of trained. Let's put him in building. Yeah.
so
Which building's like the hotel
yeah.
of the base?
Yeah.
Right.
So I was there the whole time, and I was the class leader because I was the oldest and highest ranking, and yes, tough love. They nicknamed me the general.
Oh, shit. To hell with them. They're slick sleeves. They'll learn.
They're good kids.
Yeah, yeah.
So
They always are, aren't they?
actually, one of them came up here a year ago or so.
Really?
Yeah.
So you seen? Now, were you with them through it, or just that?
So we were in school together for 6 months for that training as well, and then him and I were in Korea together for a short span. He was finishing up his tour in 2002, 2003. We probably had about a 2-month overlap.
Yeah.
And so I met him, and he's been here at the Bremen VFW.
Yeah.
And then there was another one of my kids. So I don't have kids; they're all military kids.
Yeah.
He lives in Phoenix, and when I was stationed with the Thunderbirds in Vegas, he came for a photography course or something
Yeah.
going on in Vegas. So I met him again, and we did some photos together. So it was pretty cool.
That is cool. So now you're 28. You're an A1C. Just graduated tech school. Yet again.
Yeah.
For the third time, in essence. Once from the Air Force.
Well, the
went to
Army never sent me to school because that's why I never got promoted.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So for
So the state didn't have the money to send me to school.
Right,
So
yeah.
it's bad on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you've graduated yet from another tech school.
Yeah.
Because being an analyst and reporting to the NSA wasn't enough. So now we're going to have to work on fighter planes. So now where's your first base?
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Luke Air
Force Base.
Yep.
With 16s.
Yep.
Okay.
there
And
for
how long were you there?
2 years.
2 years. So it's 99?
No, it's 2000.
It's 2000. So 9/11 happened while you were at Luke.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working swing shift, second shift, and I didn't wake up. My wife at the time was calling me, and I was like, I just worked all night, probably 12-hour shift,
Right.
and was sleeping, and yeah, so then we all had to go to work once I woke up, and
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
So I had to get all the jets on alert.
Yeah. I can imagine that was a
Yeah.
wild time. Get everything in the air.
Yeah, so it's a training.
Yesterday.
It's a training base for F-16 pilots to learn how to fly F-16s. But there's a couple of units where they trained, but they were also like, "We're gonna go kill you."
Right.
So that was my unit.
So you were in the one
The
that was
308,
actually
yeah, the
deployed.
308. Yeah. So we had to get the jets ready, and
How did that 9/11, looking back, how did it, because I was only in for a very short time before 9/11 happened, so I didn't know I got out of tech school, I think I was at my base for a couple months before it happened, maybe 6 months or something like that, but, so I didn't really understand the Air Force pre 9/11, how from pre to post 9/11, what was the switch?
well, I mean, it was immediately like you had jets in the air, constant. So back in the Cold War days, we used to have B-52s flying constantly.
Right, 24/7,
Yep.
yeah.
So it's kind of like the same thing. You had fighter planes.
So it was the ops tempo that really picked up, was just keeping things going.
Yeah. And yeah, everybody's like hair standing up.
Yeah. Everybody ready to go kill bad guys.
Yeah. And so that's what you train to do.
Yeah, that's your job. I remember that.
Yeah.
I used to always tell you, what was it in basic? We're here to kill bad guys and blow up their shit.
Mm-hmm.
We did a good job at that.
Well, it's like, what does Patton say? He's like, let the other guys die for their country instead of us.
Nobody won a war by dying for their country. Yeah. They won it by making the other poor bastard die for his.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Patton, I love that guy.
Yeah. So now we're at Luke. So now we're at Luke. We went through 9/11, and then we go to, that's when Thunderbirds.
I went to Korea.
So you were at Osan?
Yeah, so I went to Osan Air Base, Korea.
Yeah.
And that's when Iraq started.
Okay.
Yeah, that was really crazy there. I was there for a year, and then then I went to Italy after that.
Okay, so from Luke to Osan, Korea.
Was there for a year.
I loved that place. And then, well,
I
loved it and hated it.
Well, so I had a roommate. That's the old school dorms.
Yeah, that's I had one too. Shared, yeah. And you had the kitchen shared, and then the bathroom was shared.
No, we didn't have no fucking kitchen.
No, you didn't have. See, I had a kitchen, dude.
You're spoiled.
I was living it up.
Yeah, you're spoiled.
I was living it up. I loved it. So we went. So now we went to Korea for a year. And we could do a whole nother podcast about Korea, but
yeah,
I mean, anybody that's been to Korea, you could talk for that for 5 hours. But so then from Korea we go to Italy.
Yeah.
And then we're still crew chief.
Yeah.
We're making rank.
Yeah, I made rank leaving Phoenix.
Yeah.
I made E5, and when I was in Korea is when I was promoted to E5.
Okay.
And then so I was young E5 staff sergeant when I went to Italy, and then that place was just, it was really awesome. It's probably the best team of people that you associated with. I don't know,
right?
Like camaraderie or whatever. You
right.
know, like you're at that level where you all you guys work and fix the jets together, and then you guys all went and had a good time together.
Yeah.
Like, and at that rank, you have that, because after that rank you start being the boss.
Yeah.
And where you have to separate yourself from the E5s.
Yeah.
Because you're E6 and then obviously E7. So like as a staff sergeant, like that's the best rank you could have to be with your fellow workers.
Yeah.
So I was very busy there. Deployed to Iraq from there. I deployed to Korea from there. I don't know how many temporary assignments I was on out of there. I think over the year, 20 years, I was gone like probably 6.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm sure
I loved it. So when you're part of a fighter aircraft organization, you have to go and train, and you go and train with other countries. So you're always gone.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks, a month at a time to go train. And
so now, and you deploy with the jet, correct?
Yeah.
So it's your jet.
It's a package.
You deploy with it.
Yeah.
So the pilot, the crew chief, or whoever, that jet's got specific people that it deploys
right, but
with.
you have when you deploy, you have to be physically
right.
And everything. Like, I don't go because it's my jet that's going. I'm going because we're a package. We're taking all these jets and we're taking all these people.
Oh, all right. So you're deploying. There's.
It's a package.
Your squadron's deploying.
Yeah.
And everybody.
It's like 500 people and 18 jets. We're going.
Yeah, we're going. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my jet did go.
Right. Right.
You take your names off the jet when you deploy.
Yeah, you wouldn't want them. Yeah.
Yeah, because if they shoot it down,
right, you don't want them.
You don't want people's names.
Brian
on.
Shoemaker.
Yeah, and then they think you died.
Who's this? Yeah.
So, but that year, my jet dropped the most bombs.
No shit.
Like I'm proud of that. Like I'm proud that.
Fuck yeah, you should be.
Like I don't. I don't know
Bombs
about
on
other
bad
people, but
guys,
like
man.
that's what we're trained to do is kill bad guys.
It's the job.
Yeah.
That's
So-
the job.
Yeah.
So I always get a kick out of the people that, so, you know. So I know I've heard it before, you know, well, you know, I can't believe we done this, we done that. We ain't here to play Cinderella.
Yeah.
You know, the United States military is an extremely professionally violent organization.
You
That's
don't-
here to be violent.
Yeah, you don't want to
Very
put us
well.
into use.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't- you don't wanna-
It's the break glass in case of emergency.
Yeah.
And when you do break it, you got to
You better be
understand what
ready.
you're breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, that's awesome, man. So your jet had the that's
Yep. 772.
doing your job.
772. That's the tail number.
No shit.
1990
Yeah.
model 772.
772. So that was mainly in Iraq or Afghanistan or both?
Iraq. Well, I don't know where they all flew. So that jet can fly about an hour and a half with the gas tanks on the wings.
Right.
But there was one mission, one pilot flew for 9 hours, over 9 hours. And it wasn't, I don't think it was my plane, I don't think it was mine. But, because they're doing close air support for our guys.
Right. Right.
So,
Straight getting after it.
yeah, like, yeah.
Yeah. So then we're in Italy. Now do we come back from the state? Is that where the Thunderbirds come in? Because that's what I knew. I knew the Thunderbirds. I didn't know the Army and freaking Super Squirrel shit and all this other stuff.
No, I went to Germany, so I loved Europe. I was in Italy for 4 years. I made E6 while I was in Italy, and then moved to Germany because I love being in Europe. Luckily, I picked Germany, and I was assigned there.
Yeah. Ramstein?
Spangalen.
Spangalen.
That's where the fighter jets are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I went to Germany for 3 years, and I deployed to Iraq again from there as an E6, and that's when you start becoming a leader.
Right.
Like I was a leader. You don't know you're a leader until like later in life, like, but it's really crazy. Like when I look back on it, like I was a leader even in high school, not knowing it.
Yeah. Well, and especially
Not a leader in the capacity of a leader, but when decisions and things like, well, what do you want to do? It's just the simple things like, well, what do you want to do? Like, and like just make a decision. Like, so I made the decision,
right?
Because nobody else was going to do it. So
and
like,
somebody's got to.
Yeah. So when you look back on it now, like I was that person in school, not a standout or anything like that, but
you just had it in you.
You just did it. Yeah. Like I'm making a command decision. I'm making a command decision. I'm making a command decision.
Well, and especially I got to feel like it's even almost expected. Especially you go back. So when you went back into the Air Force, so you got
it was forced.
Yeah.
Like
they're looking at you.
You're the class leader. You're the old guy.
Yeah.
You're the old guy.
They're looking at you make it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps...
and then what happens when you're older than everybody else at the same rank.
Right.
When you get to your base, like so when I got to Phoenix, I had my peers, the age group of peers were higher ranking than me. So now I got to compensate.
Right, yeah.
So I was always outperforming.
Yeah.
I was like, I got assigned to the commander's jet.
Yeah.
Like I had my name on the commander's plane. I was winning these awards because I had to. And so eventually, I did it. Like in Korea, my supervisor, I met up with him again in Germany, and then
You were above him, right? Yeah.
We were the same, and then when I went to the Thunderbirds,
Right.
So it was always not a competition, but it was motivation for me to get past that curve, and I did.
So from Italy to Germany, that's when things started. So when you left Germany, is that when you got into Thunderbirds?
Yeah. So So there was 2 sets of jets there, 2 squadrons of jets there, so like probably 50, a little less than 50 airplanes, fighter jets, and I wanted to stay there, but they were dismantling the units,
Right.
so they had overabundance of people there, so I couldn't stay, and the Thunderbirds was something I always wanted to do. I never saw them perform, and then I had a lot of questions, and a lot of people like, yeah, you'd be good at it. You'd be good at it, and so I applied for the Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
In like 2008. Yeah, I know I got to Germany in 2008, so it was around 2010, 11,
Okay.
and so you had to fill out a package. You had to get a picture in your uniform. It's an application process. You don't just get to go there.
Right.
And
I think, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry. I think that's what, when we talk about these certain specialties, like these certain jobs or these certain roles. So everybody kind of goes into the military, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, whatever it is. You kind of go through your recruiter and, pick your job and do this. But once you're in and once you start doing these special things, it's an interview.
yeah,
It's not a, I'm going to go do Thunderbird
yeah,
style.
you don't get to do what you want.
Yeah, you get 100 people,
it's
just
military.
like you're competing to a
I
job.
can tell you what you're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So in Italy, I was on this commander's jet there,
Right.
and like you just work.
You build a name for yourself.
Yeah.
And it looks good on your resume. You turn it into the Thunderbirds, and now.
Yeah, but like you're not doing it for that.
No,
like,
but you're. Yeah, I mean, it's. I just think some people don't quite understand always that it's not like when people talk about these specialties. Those people had to apply for it. Like they wanted it. They
you have to be chosen to be on the commander's jet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's
not everybody's going to.
You're the commander's crew chief.
Yeah.
So
now we're in Germany. We've applied for the Thunderbirds. We get accepted.
So I went there in 2011, and
where the Thunderbirds out of?
At Vegas.
They're Vegas. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Las Vegas.
Nellis, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then again, so when you go to the Thunderbirds, I was E6, and you have to accept that you're like in Germany, like I wasn't working on airplanes anymore because you're middle management.
Yeah.
Like you're telling other people to work on airplanes. Yeah. Well, when you go to the Thunderbirds, you go back to the bottom.
Right.
Like you're gonna fix airplanes again.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. People call it hazing now, but I don't want to call it that. It's like this is what you do if you want to be part of this team. This is what you're gonna do. And
show us you can perform.
And so I had, with my attitude, I had to ask people like, am I going to get through that? Because I don't put up with that shit.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
And so I did the 21-day program.
So 21-day program. What's that?
So when you go to the Thunderbirds, I don't know if it's still true now, but 21 days, 12 hours a day every day except for the weekends. You're there like I think 6 or 8 hours. You have a lot of memorization. You have to recite and polish the patch, the Thunderbird patch in the hangar twice a day. Wax on, wax off, and then at the end of that 21 days, you have to be able to pass the test, verbal memorization. Before you get patched.
Is it like a crew of people sitting in front of you? Or?
No, it's the whole team.
The whole team that you're going to be working with is in front of you asking questions.
No, so what happens, in a hangar, it's a secured area, it's a secret. You have to have secret clearance to be inside the certain part of the hangar. And so you have a red line that borders the hangar. And you had to stand at that place. And while the pilots and the commander are just getting back from flight, they're going up and debriefing. And this whole time, the rest of the whole team, 100 people or 110, 20 people, are there yelling at you and making fun, trying to break your bearing. And you're standing there at attention, like focusing on the flag across the thing, or like focusing on everything but them.
Yeah.
And then at some point, it seemed like forever. The first sergeant came down. He's like, we're almost there. I'm like, all right. And So then the commander comes down with the rest of the pilots. So you have the whole Thunderbird organization there, and the commander goes out in the middle of the hangar, and he's like, "Sergeant Shoemaker report is ordered." So you walk as fast as you can at attention, if you can, and you report, and then you're standing at attention, and then he has a list of questions of all this stuff that you're supposed to memorize, and he can ask any of them. He can say, "Give me." So it was like, you have all the pilots, like you had to know their name, middle initial, last name, where they're from, and all that, and then he could say like, "Tell me the odd pilots," because you have 1 through 7.
Oh, so okay, yeah.
But you have what is it, 12 officers?
Right.
Give me the odd officers. So you have to say every odd one and where they're from, like that, and like in front of everybody. You're standing at attention, and you're
100 and some people there.
Yeah,
You're
and they're all yelling, and they're like they're like around you.
You're doing your best just to focus on the guy in front of you.
Yeah.
Try to tune everything
But
out.
like it's so loud that the commander has to yell in my ear what the question is so I can hear him. Because
that is.
And like, it's like, so they're all like, just want you to fail.
Right.
And so when you're practicing during those 21 days, like I would turn the stereo up in the car on the way home, and you would recite everything you're supposed to memorize and yell it, because that's what you were going to have to do.
Right.
And that's what it was. And it was like 6 or 7 questions. And it was like the people that were already members of the team, they were literally right next to you. Like I have pictures of it.
That's awesome.
And they're yelling. They have masks on. They're trying to make you laugh. They're trying to like just
trying
to
break
your
your bearing.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So that's what part of what it takes to be on the Thunderbirds.
Work on the Thunderbirds.
At least back then it was.
So now you're on the Thunderbirds. How long were you on the Thunderbirds for?
That was 4 years.
4 years. And now after the Thunderbirds, is that when you retired?
No, I made E7, and I had to go to Korea again. I went to Kunsan.
Before you could do E8, did you have to do like a? Or was it just your card got pulled?
No, it's like, so back in the day, the Thunderbirds, you kind of got to go where you wanted to. But, But someone burned that bridge between when I got there and when I left. So at the end of my cycle, almost everybody that was on the Thunderbirds, you were going to Korea.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I went to Korea again, Kunsan. It was probably the best.
So you were in Kunsan this time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was probably the best assignment for me for growing as a military leader. I made some great friends. I was in charge of people that were in the same rank as me. I was going to meetings where I was performing as an E9.
Right.
I was going to manning meetings like I was E7, and these are normally E9.
Right.
They are E9 meetings.
Yeah.
And I was going there as a master sergeant, as E8 or E7. And it's like, so it was a huge growing development for me as a leader, because I was going to these meetings, and not just the manning meetings, but I had to go to a daily meeting, and like everybody at those meetings are all outranked me.
Right.
And then I was in charge of like 3 other people that were same rank as me.
Yeah.
And then I learned competitively to make my team better and stronger and better on paper so we could win awards.
Oh, yeah.
And taking care of our guys. That's like in just that short span of that year, it was probably the most influential way to make me a better person, better military leader. And I learned how to cook there.
Yeah.
So I learned like a ton in a short span of time. And I really had some great friends, Joe and Lance, and a lot of the guys. So when you're in Korea, for the most part, both times you're not with your spouse.
Yep.
Osan is more forgiving now, but when I was there the first time, it wasn't like that, and now it is. But Kunsan, you just have you and your friends. So
and I think Osan is, when I was there, I think it was, if you were an officer, you done 2 years, but you brought your family.
Yeah, you could go there for 2 years with a family.
Yeah.
But like when I was there the first time, they didn't have the medical.
Right.
They didn't have the accommodations to support a family.
Right.
A lot of families.
Yep.
So that's what was restrictive there.
Yeah.
Kunsan, still, you're by yourself.
It's still that way.
Yeah. So then you just become, you find things to do to make you happy,
Yeah.
and then you hang out with your friends, and like, so it was a really growing thing. I felt I grew a lot of my guys, same rank. We were successful there. We got team of the year for the whole maintenance group. I had some young guys win a lot of awards that normally wouldn't win them. We were just very diverse, and that's when I learned to be better than everybody else.
Right.
Like, it was like, I'm going to be very competitive, and I'm going to be very diverse.
Yeah.
And by making my guys do diverse things, you won't be able to touch us.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So when you have that, you can be very successful. So yeah.
And then so our second tour in Korea. Now we're back to where did we go after Korea?
Went to England.
England. Jesus, dude, you had an
Had it.
awesome.
Had to change jets.
Yeah.
Had to change.
So this was all F-16
It was
until England.
Yep, it was all F-16s, and then I went to England, and we went to the 15E Strike Eagle.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but at that point, I'm not working on them anymore.
Right.
I'm a boss.
You're more managing.
Yeah.
Directing versus.
Yeah. So I was
You ain't turning the wrenches anymore.
Still
You're
E7.
telling-
Yeah.
You're telling the people who tell the people to turn the wrenches.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like you're focusing on the people, not the airplanes
Right.
anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You take care of the guys, not the jets.
Yeah. So is that? I think it's the second or third time. Is that where you retired? Then was out of England?
No.
Jesus Murphy, dude. Now where'd you go?
Well, here's the crazy thing. So, when you test to make promotion,
Right.
I had a promotion test, and I was home on leave in Bremen, and the plane got canceled because of the weather. It was wintertime, and so when you miss your test date, it's a huge ordeal.
Right. Yeah. It's
I had to
big
give them transcripts from the emails and all the airline tickets, all that stuff.
Deal.
So this is, I think it was my first year in England, and all that happened, and then so I was like, okay, here's your new test date. Like, it was a huge ordeal, like commanders and all that shit.
Yeah.
And like, okay, here's your date. So I went to go test. I'm the only person there. I didn't study.
You're the only person in the testing.
Yeah, I didn't study. I studied. I think this was my second time. The first year I studied to make rank to E8, and I didn't make it. It's hard to do your first time.
Yeah.
And so this is my second time. Like, whatever. I'm happy with being E7.
Right.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. And so I didn't study, and I like, all right, we'll go take this test.
Right.
And like a few months later, here comes the commander and my captain rolling into my office like, here's your bottle of whiskey. Congratulations, you made E8.
You're on the list.
Yeah.
Good
Pretty
Lord.
crazy.
That is crazy.
It was like,
and that was in England.
yeah,
Yeah.
Lake and Heath. So that was,
Lake and Heath. Good. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
yeah, it was, it was like the most surprised I've ever been with a promotion was that day. Yeah. And,
like, are you sure?
yeah. Like, what are you guys doing in here?
I think you guys got the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so then I deployed again out of there to unknown location. That was 2017, I think it was. Wasn't a bad assignment. It wasn't like Iraq.
Right.
We weren't getting attacked. And then after that, I went to Seymour Johnson.
So training base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have four units there.
Yeah. So in that.
Well, it's both. There's 2 units that are training for F-15Es,
right.
and there's 2 that are deployable.
Oh, okay.
So it's 2 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's eventually where you made E9 and.
Yeah, and I made E9 without. I was already doing E9 stuff. I got there.
Right.
We didn't have an E9, so I was the E9. Me
Right.
and another guy, and then results came out, and like, you're the E9.
Right. Congratulations.
Yeah, top 1%.
Congratulations, Chief. That's cool.
And then I said, I'm done.
Yeah. I don't blame you one bit. So
that was 20 years. So that was 20 years being a jet mechanic to be.
So 20 years the second time you joined.
Right. So 20 years from going to tech school for crew chief to work on
Right.
airplanes from 2000,
Right.
May 2000 to September 2020.
Right. So in
I'm
actuality,
89.
you served 26 years. 4 on guard reserve through the
over 30
Army,
years.
and then 2
inactive reserve,
Yeah.
inactive, and it's 30 years.
Yeah.
30
years.
Yeah, 1990 to 2020.
Yeah, 30 years. Jesus, Murphy.
So
It's a long time.
So when I made that rank, they're like, "Oh, you got to sign 3 more years." So when you make E8, when I made senior master sergeant, they're like,
Right.
"You have to sign up for 2 more years." I'm like, okay.
Right, yeah,
And then you're like E9, you have 10 days to decide. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
So when you make E9, they give you another 10 days to say,
You have 10 days to decide if you want to accept this challenge.
really?
Yeah. I said no.
After 30 years, it's like, hey, man,
Yeah, it's time for me.
I've done enough.
Yeah, it's time for me.
Yeah.
And now I work more.
That'll teach you.
Yeah, I retired. I retired and came home and worked more.
That's awesome. So retired, come back to Bremen. What? If we're coming into the VFW to this place, what made you? Okay, you just done 30 years. I'm gonna retire. Take it easy. No, wait a tick. Let me become the commander.
Yeah.
Of the VFW, which is like a whole nother job in of itself.
Yeah. So it was 3 months. March, April, May, like 3 months after retiring and coming home. It's like, yeah, I guess it's my turn.
Nah, might as well take it over.
Yeah, the place wasn't doing very well.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a team together and came in here and changed everything up. And
So now being the commander of the VFW, what I guess what are you trying to accomplish here? I mean, what do we need? What's going on here? What do you want people to know about the place? What are some misconceptions? All that fun stuff.
A lot of the old. It's a bad. Can't think of the word. Persona or stigma with the place is that it's just a bunch of old people out here drinking and smoking and
Right.
carrying on. But we're not that at all. It's been non-smoking for many years.
Yeah.
So it's a nice, clean environment. Children and the public are allowed to be out here and enjoy a good meal.
And I think that's
and
one of
have
the
a good
biggest
time.
ones is that people don't understand that the public's more than welcome here.
Yeah. Most people. So back in the day, it was a very private organization.
Right.
But with the diminishing population of military veterans, you don't have those numbers. So
Right.
we're open to the public, so we can, we're a community place. Like, we give back to the community in many ways.
Yep.
A lot of sports teams, the band. We do stuff at the Whitlock with the elderly, with the Easter egg hunt, softball, baseball, football. We help with all those
Yep.
organizations. We're a great member or team member with the Chamber of Commerce
Yep.
in the town. We do help organize Oktoberfest and help do Summer's End Fest within the town. It's not just being a participant of those, it's like actively involved in the planning and organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not, this place isn't that. Like, this is what, it's just, we're here for veterans and we're here for the community, and we always give back to both veterans and the community. So that's starting my third year, and now we continue to make this place better for veterans to come and the community to come and hang out. And then the more successful we are, the more we can give back.
Yeah.
We have a lot of volunteers here, including myself and you, that, none of us get paid. We're not here. It's a nonprofit organization that, just try to make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
And especially last night, with it being Memorial Day weekend, is very impactful. So it's nice to see veterans coming out here and enjoying the place. And the more money we raise to make this place better establishment, the better food we can serve, and we can still house the veterans and all their families, and then the more money we can donate back to the community to make the community better.
Right, and I think that's one of the important things that I don't think anybody. I shouldn't say anybody. That's not a fair statement. I don't think when you come here, it's easy to get sucked into. If you're not a VF member, if you're you're out in the general public, you come in and you want to have a meal. It's easy to think of it as just another restaurant, right? But it's not. It's so much
it's huge. It's
more.
huge.
It's not. We own the VFW and we're at night counting the money to make our dividends.
Right.
Everything we make, we
Goes
give
back.
away.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Whether it's a vet, whether it's the community, whether it's supporting teams or doing any of this stuff.
We do the.
We can't make money, right? That's it.
Right. Like you have to give it back.
Yeah, you have to.
Legally, you have to give it.
Yeah, and that's the whole goal is to make money to give away.
Right.
And I think that's huge. I know, and I think so. So let me ask you this. So, I think a lot of problems with a lot of VFWs around the country. So, obviously, the VF kind of, I won't say got its roots, but probably got big after World War II.
Oh yeah, of course.
Well,
so this is my grandpa was one of the founding people of this place.
Right.
The VFW in Bremen, 1947. So
imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was perfect time, right?
This place is older than the Air Force.
Right. Yeah.
The Bremen VFW has been here longer than the Air Force has been the Air Force.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
By about 6 months. But yeah, that's what you had. You had the influx of World War II veterans coming home, and they wanted to have an organization.
Right. And then, Korea, or not Korea, I'm sorry. World War II, Korea, Vietnam. And now we have this 20-year war that my fear, and maybe we can talk about this a little bit, but my fear is that these Iraq vets, these Afghanistan vets, they're still looking at the VF as the World War II guys, the Korean guys. It's our turn now, right? I mean, what do you say to those guys? Come on in. Why be here?
Like every war is hard.
Yeah.
To me, my opinion, the older wars were a lot harder. So you have this environment where people can come and associate with their brothers. That's probably how it started. So you had this place where people could gather and be amongst their brothers still after leaving the combat zone. And the younger guys now should know that we still have that place of communion.
Yeah.
So their brothers and sisters are still here. So this is a place where they can come and be with them if they choose to. Yeah.
They're still
so they share the same experiences. Yeah, it's a place for that.
Yeah.
So.
And I think it is right. I agree with you. The older wars were, I think, harder as far as some of the stuff those guys did. Our war was.
Everybody's experience is their own, so it's like.
And there's so many people here with so many different experiences.
Right, like so everybody has their own experience. Everybody has their own how it affected them and how they deal with it. Like so,
Like there's people that came back from Vietnam, they can't function,
Right.
and they're gone now.
Yeah.
And then you have people that came back from Vietnam that seen crazy shit, and they
Yeah.
function perfectly.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have any idea
Yeah.
that they were a Vietnam
Yeah.
vet. So one of the places that this place is for those people to come and be amongst their brothers and
Yeah.
sisters that they've served with or experienced similar situations with, if they choose to.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, with the experiences. So a couple nights ago I was here, I think it was during the fish fry. And, oh shit, was it the fish fry? Anyway, I was here one night and walking through the place, and there's a guy about our age. He's just sitting there, and we get to bullshitting a little bit. And I didn't even know the dude was a vet.
Uh-huh.
There was another guy that I knew, Mike, and I was talking about Route Tampa, right? So, main highway in Iraq that we used to run convoys on. Dude next to me goes, "Fuck Route Tampa, what about Route Ford?" And I'm like, holy cow, man,
Yeah.
So we start talking about all these different things, and this is the spot, man.
This is
the spot.
This is your I won't call it safe place or happy place. It's a place that veterans are always welcome, and
For
they
me,
always
it's
feel loved
a
here.
place to come to get healed too.
Yeah.
So, and I think too, one of the things that I think I experienced most. So I didn't do 30 years by any means. I done 6. When I got out after 6, I was used to this environment in the service of I won't say serving one master, but everybody you were with, above me, below me, to the side of me, everybody had a goal.
Yeah.
We all had a goal. Common goal. I get out, and I worked for a corporation for a little bit, and then you start understanding that everybody, even in your job or whatever, if your goal is to make money. Doesn't matter if you're working for a business. That business's goal is to make money,
Right.
which is great. That's what businesses have to do.
Sure.
But you miss that more than money goal.
Yeah, teamwork.
Yeah.
Teamwork and camaraderie.
Yeah. You miss that. Nobody in the service joins for making money because, god dang.
Yeah.
Me and my wife
Yeah.
were on, we could qualify for food stamps when
Right.
I was a staff sergeant, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get out, you miss that. And I think here you get that back. Oh, we got characters, we got disagreements, but it's all